I studied computer science at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. And as students, it was normal during our last days in school to sell everything we had and maybe squat to a friend. For me, that friend was Ola. I stayed at Ola's apartment with two other friends. And you could guess in a Nigerian university, it wasn't so much common to have a lot of money for food. On our last day together, we pulled what we had, the last money we had, and we asked Ola, the responsible one among us, to help us buy food. Ola took the money, Ola left, and came back with 4 bottles of beer. You could imagine our surprise. So that's what happened. Ola said he was offered a promo. You should buy 3 drinks and he will get 1 free. We were furious. But then we laughed and we drank, of course. But the truth remains, Ola didn't suddenly become irresponsible. Ola was influenced. The store owner knew Ola. He knew Ola's favorite drink. He knew Ola had friends visiting. And he knew that that day was our last day together. With just this little data the store owner knew about Ola, he was able to predict and change Ola's decision. And the scary part is, Ola didn't know he was being manipulated. He may have loved his drinks. He might have loved having a good time with his friends. But at that moment, buying a drink was not the best decision of Ola in his interest. Every day, we generate over 400 million terabytes of data. It's captured from our phone, our cars, our smartwatches. You can safely assume that every smart device around you is listening to you. Sometimes for Hey Siri, sometimes for much more. You mentioned that you want tea in your bedroom, and every website you open wants to sell you agege bread. In 2016, 2 of the most important democratic decisions in the world were being taken. In the United States, people wanted to choose a president. And in the United Kingdom, they were trying to decide whether they will remain in the European Union or not. From outside, it all looked normal, except that it wasn't. Years earlier, an app appeared on Facebook. It asked fun questions like, what are your likes? What kind of character are you? Well, who do you like? It looked basic. But what appeared as a personality survey was actually from a political manipulation. Using this data, they were able to build psychological profiles of their responders and also for their friends. And this spanned over 8 million people. They learned who was anxious, they learned who was angry, whose voice and vote was undecided, whose opinion could be changed and who could be silenced. Millions of people voted in this election thinking that they were making free choices. But behind the scene, invisible systems shaped what they saw. It shaped what they feared and what they believed in. It's important to know where your data is, and more importantly, how your data is used. So let's ask the hard questions. Where is Africa's data stored? Who has access to it? Who controls it? If it took just a few thousands in the United States to swing elections, how much more can be done with millions of terabytes of data being transferred out from our continent with little or no control? How can it be that in an age where history-changing decisions are influenced by data, Africa still does not own its data? Continents and countries are now passing laws not just to protect privacy, but to keep data within their borders. In the last year, regulators in the EU fined TikTok over €500 million for how they handled users' data. And in China, and in Chinese framework, it requires that data collected in China stays in China, especially when it involves personal information or even deemed important. That means that companies operating within China must store Chinese data within data centers in China. These kind of laws don't just protect privacy, they protect your sovereignty. But then on the flip side, there's Africa. In 2018, a French newspaper, Le Monde Afrique, once reported that voice recordings from African Union building were being stored in China. I'll rephrase. The voice data from the building where decisions about Africa are made were being stored in China. That should bother you. And that should bother all of us. So, what does all this really come down to? It comes down to choice. It comes down to control. Control over who knows us, control over who profits from us, and control over who gets to predict us. We are entering a world where voices can be cloned, behaviors can be nudged, and even decisions can be shaped invisibly. Africa cannot afford to walk into this future unprotected. If you can take localization seriously, if you can insist that our data serves us alone and build into our consciousness how our data usage affects us, then we own our choices in it. We control our future. If we do this, maybe next time my friend Ola comes back with food. Thank you.